Hey everyone, welcome back to another weekly session. It's great to see you all again for another one of our live Sunday talks. For those of you joining for the first time, welcome. We meet here every week and dive into some important topics designed to help young people, especially teens, take charge of their personal growth. I'm excited you're here. Today's session is all about something that's become increasingly important, especially in our digital first world: personal branding. And yes, I know you might be thinking, isn't personal branding for people already in their careers? Not at all. In fact, the earlier you start thinking about your personal brand, the better. That's exactly why today we're going to be talking about building a personal brand, and specifically how you, as a teen, can use LinkedIn to get started. Trust me, it's more than just a platform for job seekers. It's an incredibly powerful tool for shaping your public and professional image from a young age. So, what are we going to cover? We'll explore how LinkedIn can help you stand out, build connections, and showcase who you are, even if you're still in high school or early in your academic journey. I'm sure some of you might already have a LinkedIn account, but maybe you're wondering what to do with it. If so, this session is perfect for you. And if you haven't set one up yet, don't worry. We'll walk through everything you need to know. Introduction to the session. Okay, let's get into it. Building a personal brand isn't just for adults or people deep into their careers, it's for everyone. And yes, that includes teens like you. A personal brand is essentially your reputation, how people perceive you, your skills, your interests, and your potential. And why does that matter? Because in today's digital world, how you present yourself online can open doors to opportunities you may not even know exist yet. Think about it. When someone Googles your name, what do they find? If the first thing that pops up is your LinkedIn profile, you've already set the tone for how people see you. They see your academic achievements, your projects, your interests, and your passions. That's why LinkedIn is such a powerful platform. It gives you a space to start crafting your professional identity now, not years down the line. It might feel a little strange to be thinking about this as a teenager, but believe me when I say that colleges, internships, and even part time jobs are checking out your online presence. They're trying to get a sense of who you are beyond your application or resume. That's where LinkedIn comes in. It's a platform that allows you to tell your story on your own terms. In today's session, we're going to explore how LinkedIn can be a game changer for your future. We'll talk about why it's important, how to get started, and some practical tips on how to make your profile stand out, even if you don't have much work experience yet. By the end of this session, you'll know exactly how to present yourself on LinkedIn in a way that reflects your potential and interests, no matter what stage of life you're in. Why this topic is important. So, let's dive deeper into why this whole idea of building a personal brand, specifically on LinkedIn, is so important, especially for teens. Think about it like this: in today's world, we're all online all the time. Social media, apps, gaming, you name it. It's where we connect with friends, share our lives, and have fun. But here's the thing: the digital world isn't just about entertainment anymore. It's become part of who we are, and more importantly, how people see us. And that's where LinkedIn steps in as a total game changer. You see, LinkedIn isn't like other social media platforms. It's where professionals, companies, universities, and recruiters hang out. But here's the secret: you don't need to wait until you're professional to start using it. Starting early means you're already ahead of the game, building something that'll only grow stronger with time. Now, let me ask you this. When you think about your future, whether it's college, a dream job, or a cool internship, what do you think those decision makers are going to do? They're going to Google you. Yep, that's one of the first things most people do these days when they want to know more about someone. And you can bet that colleges and future employers are doing the same. So, what comes up when they do? For most teens, it's probably Instagram or maybe a school activity. But what if the first thing they saw was a LinkedIn profile where you've highlighted your projects, your interests, maybe some volunteer work you've done? That would make a huge difference in how they perceive you. It's like putting your best foot forward without having to say a word. And let's not forget, it's not just about what others see, it's also about what you gain from having that presence. Imagine connecting with people who are already working in the fields you're curious about. Whether you're passionate about technology, art, business, or social causes, there are people on LinkedIn who've been there, done that, and are more than willing to offer advice, mentorship, or even opportunities. LinkedIn gives you access to a network that can help you figure out your path, give you insights, and maybe even open doors you didn't know existed. This is why LinkedIn is so important now, not just when you're older or already in the workforce. If you're someone who has big dreams, who wants to make a mark, then LinkedIn is where you can start planting those seeds. The earlier you begin, the more time you give yourself to grow, refine, and present your brand. And remember, your brand isn't just about what you've done, it's about who you are and what you're passionate about. And I want to be real with you for a second. The world is competitive, but here's the good news: you have a chance to stand out. And it doesn't take years of work experience to do that. It takes a willingness to put yourself out there, share your interests, and show that you're driven to learn and grow. Even if you're still figuring things out, that's okay. In fact, showing that you're curious and actively learning can be just as powerful as having a ton of experience. LinkedIn gives you that platform to say, hey, this is me, and here's what I'm working toward. Let's take a moment to talk about how this directly impacts your life, whether in school, your future career, or just how you present yourself in the world. Right now, you might be juggling classes, extracurriculars, maybe a part time job. You're busy, I get it. But LinkedIn is where you can capture all of that. It's where you can show off that summer project you worked on, the leadership role you took in your school club, or even the part time gig that taught you time management. These are the things that build your brand, and LinkedIn helps you showcase them in a way that's professional and forward thinking. So when you ask, why should I care about this? The answer is simple: because how you're perceived online can shape the opportunities you get in real life. And LinkedIn is a tool that helps you control that perception. It lets you put your best self out there, not just for today, but for your future. Imagine looking back a few years from now, seeing how far you've come. The profile you start today can grow with you, showing not just your accomplishments, but your growth over time. And that's something colleges, employers, and even mentors love to see: progress, potential, and ambition. In a world where so much is decided by what's online, you have the power to make sure your online presence is working for you, not against you. And LinkedIn is one of the best ways to do that. It's a space where you can be taken seriously, where you can begin telling the story of who you are and who you want to become. That's why today's topic is so important. It's not just about creating a profile, it's about creating a future. And that starts now. Objectives of the session. So by the end of today's session, I want you to walk away feeling confident about a few key things. First and foremost, you'll have a crystal clear understanding of why creating a LinkedIn profile matters for you right now. I know we've already touched on it a bit, but by the time we wrap up, you'll see the full picture of how LinkedIn can really lay the foundation for your personal brand, whether it's helping you stand out in college applications, getting that internship, or even landing a summer job. LinkedIn is going to be a major tool in your toolkit. You'll realize it's not just a space for grown-ups in their careers, it's for you, right here, right now, as you're starting to shape your future. Next, you're going to learn how to set up that LinkedIn profile from scratch. Don't worry if you haven't done anything like this before. That's what we're here for. We'll go through it step by step, and I'll show you how to really highlight what makes you, you. You might be thinking, but what do I even have to add? Well, trust me, whether it's school projects, volunteering, clubs, or skills you're developing, you've got more to share than you think. By the end, you'll have a profile that reflects your unique strengths, your potential, and where you're heading. And here's where it gets really interesting. We're also going to talk about how you can use LinkedIn to start networking. Now, I know the word networking might sound a little intimidating, but it's not as scary as it sounds, I promise. LinkedIn is so much more than just a place to post your resume or list your achievements. It's a space where you can actually connect with people who share your interests, your passions, and your goals. I'm going to show you how to make those connections, whether it's with peers, mentors, or professionals who are already working in fields that inspire you. The great thing about LinkedIn is that you're not just putting yourself out there, you're also building relationships that could help guide and support you along the way. So, what does that mean for you by the time we're done? You'll know exactly why LinkedIn is a tool you can't afford to overlook. You'll understand how to create a profile that tells your story, even if you don't have years of experience. And you'll have a game plan for using LinkedIn to expand your network in a way that's meaningful and impactful, not just now, but for years to come. In short, today's session is going to give you the tools you need to take control of your online presence. You'll feel empowered to use LinkedIn not just as a digital space for your resume, but as a living, breathing platform for your personal brand, a brand that can grow and evolve with you as you move forward in your academic and professional journey. So, stick with me because by the end of this session, you'll have everything you need to get started. Core concepts or main ideas. Now that we've laid the groundwork on why personal branding and LinkedIn matter, let's get into the heart of today's session, the core concepts. This is where we take a deeper dive into the strategies and ideas that will help you not just build a LinkedIn profile, but really use it to your advantage. We're going to break it down into three key concepts. Each one will help you understand how to shape your personal brand on LinkedIn and give you the tools to make that brand work for you. Concept one, crafting your personal narrative. Let's start with what I think is the most important concept, your personal narrative. Think of this as the story you're telling about yourself. It's not just about listing what you've done or where you've been, it's about who you are, what makes you unique, and what you're working toward. So, what does that mean in practice? On LinkedIn, this personal narrative starts with your profile, specifically your headline and your summary. Now, most people make the mistake of just putting something super basic in their headline, like high school student. But you're so much more than that, aren't you? Your headline is the first thing people see, so it needs to capture what makes you stand out. For example, let's say you're passionate about technology and have been learning coding on your own. Instead of just student, how about aspiring software engineer with a passion for coding and problem solving? Or if you're interested in environmental issues, you could go with something like high school student, future environmental advocate, passionate about sustainability. See the difference? It immediately gives people a sense of who you are and what you care about. Your personal narrative isn't just about what you've already accomplished, it's about where you're going. You might not have a ton of experience yet, but you have interests, goals, and passions, and that's exactly what your LinkedIn should reflect. The same goes for your summary. This is where you get to expand on that headline and tell your story in a bit more detail. Think of it like a mini cover letter. You don't need to write an essay, but you want to give a sense of what drives you. What are your interests? What are you passionate about learning? What do you want to achieve in the future? For example, let's say you're interested in science. You could write something like, I'm a high school junior with a passion for biology and environmental science. Over the past year, I've been volunteering with local cleanup projects and learning about how environmental changes impact ecosystems. I'm excited to continue studying these topics and hope to pursue a career in environmental research. When you craft a narrative like this, you're not just listing your achievements, you're showing people what motivates you and where you're headed. That's the power of storytelling. Now, why is this important? Because people connect with stories, whether it's a college admissions officer, a recruiter, or a potential mentor when they read your profile. They want to know who you are beyond just a list of facts. They want to see your potential, your passion, and your personality. And when you give them that, you make a lasting impression. Concept two, building a network with purpose. The second big concept we're going to talk about is building a network with purpose. A lot of people think networking is just about adding as many connections as possible, but that's not really the goal. What matters is who you're connecting with and why. On LinkedIn, your network is your professional community. It's made up of the people who can help you learn, grow, and maybe even open doors for you. But here's the thing, it's not just about what they can do for you. Networking is a two-way street. It's about building relationships that are mutually beneficial. So, how do you start building a purposeful network as a teen? Well, you probably already know some people who can be part of that network. Your teachers, classmates, maybe a mentor, or someone you've volunteered with. These are great first connections because they already know you and they can help you expand your reach. But don't stop there. Think about the fields or industries you're interested in, even if it's just a vague idea right now. LinkedIn is full of professionals from every industry you can think of. Start by following people who inspire you. Let's say you're interested in graphic design. Look for designers whose work you admire, follow their profiles, and engage with their content. Comment on their posts, share their articles, and over time, you can build a relationship with them. And remember, it's not just about following big name professionals. You can also connect with people who are at a similar stage in their journey. Maybe they're students like you or just starting out in their careers. These connections can be incredibly valuable as you grow together and share experiences. The real key to networking on LinkedIn is to approach it with intent. Don't just add people for the sake of adding them. Think about who you want to learn from, who inspires you, and who you can potentially collaborate with in the future. This is what makes your network strong, not its size, but its value. And here's a little tip, when you send a connection request, don't just hit the connect button. Take the time to personalize it. Mention why you want to connect or what you admire about their work. A simple, thoughtful message can make all the difference in starting a meaningful connection. Networking might sound a bit intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually one of the most rewarding aspects of LinkedIn. The connections you build now can have a long lasting impact on your future. You never know when someone in your network might be the key to a new opportunity, a piece of advice, or a collaboration that takes you to the next level. Concept three, showcasing your skills and experience, even if you think you don't have any. Our third key concept is all about showcasing your skills and experience. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I don't have any real experience yet. That's totally okay. The truth is, even if you haven't had a job or a formal internship, you do have experience. You just need to think about it differently. Let's start with skills. You might not realize it, but the things you're learning and doing every day, whether it's in school, during extracurriculars, or even in your hobbies, are building valuable skills. Are you part of a team? That's teamwork and leadership. Do you spend hours editing videos for fun? That's video editing and creativity. Are you the go to person for organizing group projects? That's project management and communication. On LinkedIn, you have the chance to list these skills and show the world what you're good at. And even better, your connections can endorse those skills, which means they can vouch for your abilities. Over time, as you gain more experience, you can keep updating this section. But for now, focus on the skills you're already developing. Now let's talk about experience. Experience doesn't just mean a job, it can be anything that's helped you grow or learn. Maybe you volunteered at a local shelter, participated in a school club, or created a personal project just because you were passionate about it. All of these things count as experience, and they deserve a spot on your LinkedIn profile. Let's say you're part of your school's debate team. You could list that under experience and explain how it's helped you develop critical thinking, public speaking, and research skills. Or maybe you're into photography and you've been building a portfolio on the side. That's a project you can feature on your profile too. And don't forget about courses or certifications. If you've taken any online courses, whether it's through school or platforms like Coursera or Khan Academy, add those to your profile. It shows that you're actively learning and improving your skills, which is exactly what colleges and employers want to see. The goal here is to showcase what makes you unique. You might not have a traditional resume yet, but that doesn't mean you don't have valuable experiences. By highlighting the things you have done, you're building a profile that shows your potential and your willingness to learn and grow. So, those are our three core concepts: crafting your personal narrative, building a purposeful network, and showcasing your skills and experience. Together, these concepts form the foundation of your personal brand on LinkedIn. It's not just about what you've already done, it's about how you present yourself, the connections you make, and how you showcase your potential for the future. Now that we've covered these, let's move on to some of the best practices and strategies to help you apply these ideas to your LinkedIn profile. Best practices and strategies. Now that we've got a solid understanding of the core concepts, let's talk about how to actually put them into action. This is where it gets practical. I'm going to share some best practices and strategies that'll help you implement everything we've talked about so far. And don't worry, we'll keep it simple, step by step, so you can really make the most of your LinkedIn profile. Step one, setting up your profile the right way. Let's start at the beginning, setting up your profile. The first thing people will see is your profile photo. Now, LinkedIn is a professional platform, so this isn't the place for a casual selfie or a picture from your last beach trip. But don't stress, just keep it clean and simple. You don't need a fancy headshot. Find a well lit space, dress in something you might wear to a school event or an interview, and have someone snap a picture of you with a neutral background. Your smile and confidence should shine through. It's amazing how much a good profile picture can make a difference in how approachable and professional you appear. Next up is your headline. Like we talked about earlier, this is where you want to grab people's attention. Remember to focus on your interests and goals, not just your current status. Instead of high school student, go for something that shows where you're heading. Are you passionate about technology, design, or social issues? Include that. For example, aspiring entrepreneur, passionate about business and innovation. It doesn't need to be long, but it should immediately give someone a sense of who you are and what you care about. Then comes your summary. This is your chance to expand on that headline and tell your story in a more personal way. Don't overthink it. It's just a short paragraph that gives people a glimpse of your personality, your goals, and maybe some achievements. You might say something like, I'm a high school student with a passion for environmental science. Over the past year, I've been involved in local cleanup projects and exploring how climate change impacts ecosystems. I'm eager to learn more and work toward a career in environmental research. Keep it authentic and forward looking. Step two, building your network intentionally. Now let's talk about networking. We touched on this earlier, but let's break it down into actionable steps. The first thing you want to do is connect with people you already know. Start with your classmates, teachers, maybe even family friends who are in the professional world. This gives you a solid base to build from. Once you've connected with people you know, it's time to expand your network strategically. Think about the industries or fields you're interested in and start following professionals or organizations in those areas. Don't be afraid to send connection requests to people whose work you admire. But here's the key: when you send a request, always include a personalized message. Mention why you want to connect or something you admire about their work. It doesn't need to be long. Something like, Hi, name. I'm a high school student passionate about field, and I've been following your work in industry. I'd love to connect and learn more from your insights. It shows that you're thoughtful and genuinely interested. Another great strategy for networking is joining LinkedIn groups. Whether it's a group for aspiring engineers, writers, or environmental advocates, find communities that align with your interests. Being active in these groups helps you build relationships and shows that you're engaged in the conversation. Comment on posts, ask questions, and share articles that you find interesting. Over time, this helps you become more visible and make meaningful connections. Step 3, highlighting skills and experience, even when you're just starting out. A lot of people get stuck here, thinking they don't have enough to fill out the experience section. But like we talked about earlier, you've got more than you think. Start by listing any school projects, clubs, or volunteer work you've been involved in. Did you lead a group project? Organize a school event? Volunteer at a community organization? All of this counts. When you add these experiences, focus on what you learned and the skills you gained. Maybe leading a project helped you develop teamwork and communication skills. Maybe volunteering taught you about time management or community engagement. These are the kinds of things that help people see your potential, even if you're still early in your journey. Don't forget to add skills to your profile. LinkedIn lets you list skills like leadership, creativity, problem solving, or even more specific ones like video editing or coding. The cool thing is, your connections can endorse these skills, giving them more weight. So don't be shy. List the things you're good at and start building that section of your profile. Step 4, engaging with content regularly. Another key strategy is engaging with content. LinkedIn isn't just a static resume, it's a dynamic platform where you can learn, share, and grow. Follow companies, thought leaders, and professionals who inspire you and engage with their content. Like, comment, and share posts that resonate with you. This not only helps you stay informed, but also makes you more visible to your network. Here's a pro tip: if you're feeling bold, start sharing your own content. You don't need to be an expert to contribute. Maybe share an article you found interesting or write a quick post about something you're passionate about, like a project you're working on or a recent accomplishment. This shows that you're not just a passive observer, you're actively involved in your own journey. And trust me, people notice when you start sharing your thoughts and ideas. Common mistakes to avoid. Now, as you get going, there are a few common mistakes you'll want to avoid. First, don't treat LinkedIn like Instagram or Facebook. While you want to be personable, LinkedIn is still a professional platform, so it's important to maintain a professional tone. Avoid oversharing personal details or posting anything too casual. Stick to topics that align with your academic and career interests. Another mistake is being passive. It's easy to create a profile and then leave it sitting there, but that's not going to help you. LinkedIn is all about engagement. So once your profile is up, make sure to use it. Check in regularly, engage with your connections, and keep your profile updated as you gain new experiences. Finally, don't underestimate the power of a thoughtful connection request. Avoid sending generic connection requests without a message. Taking the extra 30 seconds to write a personalized note can be the difference between someone accepting your request or ignoring it. So, there you have it. By following these best practices, you'll be well on your way to mastering LinkedIn and building a personal brand that sets you apart. It's not just about having a profile, it's about using it to connect, grow, and showcase who you are and what you're working toward. Now, let's move on to some interactive activities that will help you put these strategies into action right away. Interactive activities and exercises. All right, now that we've talked about the core concepts and strategies, it's time to get hands on. The best way to make this real for you is to actually apply what we've been discussing. So, let's jump into some exercises that will help you build your LinkedIn profile and develop your personal brand step by step. Let's start with something that sets the foundation for everything else: crafting your headline and summary. Think of this as the introduction to your story. Your headline is the very first thing people see when they visit your profile. Remember, it's not just a title, it's a snapshot of who you are and what you're passionate about. I want you to take a minute and reflect on what makes you, you. What are your passions? What excites you? Maybe you're someone who's fascinated by science, or maybe you're into creative fields like writing or design. Whatever it is, let it shine through in your headline. It's your chance to tell the world, this is what I care about. Now let's get that headline written down. It doesn't need to be perfect right away. Just put down what feels right. Maybe you're an aspiring engineer or a passionate advocate for social causes. Write something that represents your goals, even if you're still early in your journey. If you're thinking about a career in technology, for example, you might say something like high school student, aspiring software engineer, passionate about coding and innovation. Got it? Great. Now let's move on to your summary. Your summary is your space to expand on that headline, to tell a little more of your story. Think about what drives you, what gets you out of bed in the morning. Why are you pursuing the things you care about? Take a few minutes to write a short paragraph that gives people a glimpse into your world. Don't worry if it's not perfect right away. It can always evolve as you do. For example, you might say, I'm a high school student with a passion for environmental science. Over the past year, I've volunteered with local conservation groups, and I'm excited to continue learning about how we can protect the planet for future generations. It's simple, but it tells people what you're about and where you're headed. All right, take a moment to get those ideas down. If you're in a group, feel free to share with the person next to you, or just take this time to reflect on how these small changes can shape how others see you. Now that we've got that personal narrative started, let's move on to networking. Here's a quick scenario to get us thinking. Imagine you found someone on LinkedIn who's doing exactly what you'd love to do one day. Maybe they're a software engineer, an artist, or a nonprofit leader. You'd love to connect with them, but you don't want to just hit connect and leave it at that. You want to send a message that shows why you admire their work and why you want to learn from them. Take a few minutes to think about what you'd say. If you were sending a connection request to someone you look up to, how would you make it personal? What would you say to show them that you're genuinely interested in their journey? It doesn't need to be long, but it should feel authentic. Here's an example. Hi, name. I'm a high school student with a passion for field, and I've been following your work at company. I'm really inspired by what you're doing, and I'd love to connect and learn more about your experience in the industry. It's personal, thoughtful, and respectful. Now, try writing your own message based on this scenario. As you're working on that, remember, networking isn't just about adding connections, it's about building relationships. If you're in a group, share your message with the person next to you. Or if you're reflecting on your own, just take a moment to think about how sending a thoughtful message can set you apart. Next, let's talk about skills. I know we mentioned earlier that it's easy to feel like you don't have much to offer in terms of experience, but trust me, you do. Everyone has skills they've developed, even if they don't realize it yet. So, I want you to take a minute and think about what skills you've gained either from school, hobbies, or even volunteering. Maybe you're great at organizing events for your school, or maybe you're the go to person for helping friends with their computer problems. These are all valuable skills. Take a moment to write down at least 5 skills that you feel represent you. It could be anything from leadership to creativity, from public speaking to coding. Once you've listed those skills, think about how you can add them to your LinkedIn profile. The beauty of LinkedIn is that you can showcase these skills, and people in your network can even endorse you for them. So don't hold back. If you've got a talent for something, share it. Now, I want you to think about how you'll use LinkedIn to engage with your network. It's not just about building a profile and leaving it there. LinkedIn is an active space, and the more you engage, the more you'll get out of it. Think about the fields or industries you're most interested in. Maybe it's technology, healthcare, or the arts. Who would you want to connect with in those areas? And why? How would those connections help you grow? Take a minute to reflect on this. Who's someone in your network or someone you'd like to connect with that could inspire you or give you advice? If you're in a group, share these thoughts with the person next to you. If not, just take a few moments to consider the possibilities. Finally, let's wrap this up with a quick reflection. Based on everything we've covered today, What's one action you can take right now to start building or improving your LinkedIn profile? Maybe it's updating your headline, reaching out to someone in your field, or even just listing your skills. Whatever it is, commit to taking that step by the end of today. You've already made great progress just by thinking about these things, so don't stop here. All right, that wraps up our interactive portion. These exercises are designed to get you thinking and doing because the more you engage with LinkedIn, the more confident you'll feel in building your personal brand. Real world applications. Now that we've explored the key concepts and started putting them into practice, let's talk about how these ideas actually play out in the real world. Because building a personal brand on LinkedIn isn't just something that looks good online. It's something that can have a real impact on your future opportunities, whether it's in school, internships, or even landing that first job. So, how do we take what we've learned and apply it to everyday life? Let me give you a real world example to get us started. Imagine a student, let's call her Sarah. Sarah is still in high school, and like a lot of you, she's not sure how to showcase her interests in a professional way, but she's passionate about environmental science and has even been involved in a few local cleanup projects. Sarah decides to create a LinkedIn profile, even though she doesn't have much formal work experience yet. Instead of waiting until college or her first internship, she starts using LinkedIn to highlight what she's already done. She writes a headline that says, "High school student passionate about environmental science, volunteer for local conservation projects." In her summary, she talks about her love for the environment, the small projects she's participated in, and her goal to study environmental science in college. Within a few months of being on LinkedIn, Sarah starts connecting with environmental professionals and organizations. She follows a few companies that focus on sustainability and joins groups where people discuss green energy and conservation. Soon enough, she starts engaging with their posts, commenting thoughtfully, sharing articles, and even posting about her own volunteer work. Then something interesting happens. One of the organizations she follows posts about a virtual internship opportunity focused on climate research. Sarah sees this post because she's been active in the community and she applies. She's accepted into the program because of her passion and the networking she's been doing. This isn't just a what if story. This kind of thing happens all the time on LinkedIn. By showcasing her interests and making connections early, Sarah was able to open doors she didn't even know were there. And that's the power of applying these concepts in the real world. Now, let's take a look at another example from a different industry. Suppose there's a student named Jack who is really into graphic design. Jack doesn't have a job yet, but he's spent hours working on his own design projects, creating logos, websites, and digital art for fun. He decides to share some of his work on LinkedIn, posting examples of what he's been working on in his free time. He also starts following a few designers he admires and joins LinkedIn groups focused on graphic design trends. Before long, Jack's posts start to catch the attention of other designers and even a few small business owners looking for design work. One day, a local business owner reaches out to Jack directly through LinkedIn, asking if he'd be interested in doing some freelance design work for their company. Jack ends up landing his first paid project not because he had years of professional experience, but because he showcased his skills and passion in a way that caught the attention of the right people. This is a perfect example of how LinkedIn can connect you to opportunities that align with your interests, even if you're still a student. But it's not just about getting internships or jobs. Building your personal brand on LinkedIn can also be incredibly useful when it comes to college applications. Admissions officers are increasingly looking beyond just test scores and grades. They want to see who you are as a person, what you're passionate about, and how you engage with the world around you. Having a well developed LinkedIn profile gives them a glimpse of your interests and achievements in a way that a traditional application can't. Imagine this: you're applying to a college program in business or marketing, and your LinkedIn profile showcases the projects you've led at school, the clubs you've been involved in, or even a small business you started on the side. Admissions officers see not just a student who is academically qualified, but someone who is proactive, motivated, and already thinking about their future. that can set you apart in a competitive application process. And it's not just for college or career. Let's say you're passionate about a cause. Maybe it's social justice, mental health advocacy, or sustainability. LinkedIn gives you a platform to share your voice. You can post articles, share your thoughts on important topics, or join discussions with like minded individuals. Over time, you start to build a reputation as someone who's knowledgeable and passionate about that cause. This can lead to speaking engagements, volunteer opportunities, or even partnerships with organizations who share your vision. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, artist, scientist, or advocate, LinkedIn helps you take those first steps toward making a real impact in your field. The benefits of applying what you've learned today are clear. By building a strong LinkedIn presence, you're setting yourself up for success, whether that's getting into the college of your dreams, landing a job or internship, or connecting with people who can mentor and support you as you move forward in your journey. But the real outcome? Confidence. When you see yourself reflected in a professional light on LinkedIn, you start to believe in your potential. You're taking charge of your personal brand and showing the world what you're capable of, even if you're just starting out. So, as you think about how to apply these concepts to your own life, remember that LinkedIn is more than just a place to list achievements. It's a platform that allows you to tell your story, connect with people who inspire you, and create opportunities that align with your passions. And that's something that can truly shape your future. Challenges and solutions. Now, as with anything new, there are bound to be a few challenges along the way when you're setting up your LinkedIn profile or building your personal brand. So, let's take a moment to address some of the most common obstacles you might face, and more importantly, how to overcome them. One of the first challenges I often hear is, I don't have enough experience to build a profile. This is a really common feeling, especially if you're just starting out. You might look at your profile and think, what am I supposed to put on here? I've never had a job or internship. But here's the solution: focus on what you do have. Remember, LinkedIn isn't just for people with long resumes, it's a place to showcase your skills, your projects, your passions. Did you lead a group project at school? That's experience. Have you been part of a club or volunteered somewhere? That counts too. And if you're learning new skills, whether through school, online courses, or even just personal projects, add those to your profile. Don't wait until you have a formal job to start building your presence. Use what you've got right now to tell your story and let your potential shine through. Another common challenge is, I don't know who to connect with. It can feel a bit intimidating to reach out to people you don't know, especially on a platform like LinkedIn, where the focus is on professionals. You might be wondering, why would someone want to connect with me if I'm just a student? Here's the thing: people love to help others who are genuinely interested in learning and growing. The solution here is to start small. Connect with people you know first, like your classmates, teachers, or family friends. From there, you can branch out. Look for people in industries that excite you, join groups that align with your interests, and engage with the content that resonates with you. When you send a connection request, don't overthink it. Just be sincere. Mention why you admire their work or how their experience aligns with your goals. You'll find that most people are open to connecting, especially when they see your enthusiasm. A big obstacle for many is simply getting started. You might feel overwhelmed by the idea of creating a profile, writing a headline, filling out your summary, and connecting with people. It can seem like a lot to do, and the fear of making mistakes can hold you back. The solution? Start small. You don't have to perfect your entire profile in one day. Begin with just the basics. Set up your profile picture and write a simple headline. Once that's done, tackle your summary. Over time, you can keep adding and improving as you gain more experience. The key is to start. Don't wait for the perfect moment or profile. Just take that first step, and you'll build momentum as you go. And here's a really common challenge: what if no one notices my profile? This is a big concern, especially when you're putting effort into building your brand, but you're not seeing immediate results. It can feel discouraging when it seems like no one is paying attention. But here's the thing: LinkedIn, like anything else, takes time. The solution is consistency. Don't just set up your profile and forget about it. Be active, engage with posts, join conversations, and share your thoughts or experiences. It's not about instant gratification, it's about slowly building your presence over time. The more you interact, the more visible you become. Remember, building a network and personal brand is a marathon, not a sprint. Finally, one challenge we all face at some point is the fear of rejection or failure. What if you reach out to someone and they don't respond? Or what if you apply for an internship and don't get it? It's totally natural to feel this way. But the solution here is to reframe failure as part of the process. Every connection you make, every message you send, every opportunity you pursue is a learning experience. Even if you don't get the result you hoped for, you've still taken a step forward. So, if you feel stuck or unsure, just remember it's okay to take small steps. Every profile update, every connection, and every interaction brings you closer to where you want to be. Final reflections and key takeaways. As we wrap up today's session, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered and the next steps you can take. We've talked about a lot, everything from building a strong personal brand to using LinkedIn as a tool to showcase your potential, to connecting with people who can help guide and inspire you. The most important takeaway here is that your personal brand starts with you, even if you're just at the beginning of your journey. It's about how you present yourself, how you tell your story, and how you build connections that can support your goals. And remember, your LinkedIn profile is more than just a digital resume. It's your chance to showcase your passions, your skills, and your growth. Now, what are the action items? First, if you haven't already, take the time to set up your LinkedIn profile. It doesn't have to be perfect right away, but make sure it reflects who you are and what excites you. Add a profile photo, write a headline that speaks to your interests, and craft a summary that tells your story in a personal way. Second, start building your network. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, whether it's classmates, teachers, or professionals in fields you admire. The key is to start small and build genuine connections. Remember, networking is about relationships, not just adding numbers to your connection list. And finally, make it a habit to stay active on LinkedIn. Engage with content, share your own thoughts, and keep your profile updated as you grow and gain more experience. The more you interact with your network, the more visible you'll become, and the more opportunities will come your way. If you're looking for more resources, there are plenty of free guides and tutorials online that can help you navigate LinkedIn and improve your profile. LinkedIn's own learning platform offers some great courses on everything from building your brand to mastering networking. And if you're interested in diving deeper into personal branding or career development, there are lots of books and articles on those topics that can give you even more insight. At the end of the day, building your personal brand is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. But by taking these small, intentional steps now, you're setting yourself up for success in the future. So take that first step today, whether it's writing your headline, sending a connection request, or just reflecting on what you want your brand to represent. Each action brings you closer to your goals. Conclusion. Before we wrap things up, I just want to leave you with a few final words of encouragement. The journey to building your personal brand and creating your presence on LinkedIn might feel a bit overwhelming at first, but remember, it's all about taking those small, meaningful steps. You've already taken a big leap today just by being here, learning, and thinking about your future in a proactive way. That's something you should feel really proud of. Building a personal brand, especially as a teen, is one of the smartest moves you can make. It's a way to tell the world, here's who I am, here's what I care about, and here's where I'm going. And LinkedIn is the perfect platform to help you showcase that. It's not just about what you've accomplished so far, it's about your potential, what you're capable of, and the path you're creating for yourself. Remember, this isn't a race. Your brand will grow and evolve as you do. The key is to start now and be consistent. Engage with people who inspire you, share your ideas, and don't be afraid to take risks by putting yourself out there. You never know what opportunities could come your way simply because you took the time to craft your brand and connect with the right people. I also want to thank each of you for your time and engagement today. It's been a fantastic session, and I hope you feel empowered to take what you've learned and start applying it to your own LinkedIn journey. You've got everything you need to get started, and I'm confident that as you take these steps, you'll see how impactful building a personal brand can be for your future. Now, before we close, I'd love to open the floor for any final questions you might have. Whether it's about setting up your profile, networking, or anything else we covered today, feel free to ask. I'm here to help. Thank you again for joining me. I look forward to seeing how you all use LinkedIn to create your unique personal brand and start making those connections that will help shape your future. Q&A session. All right. Now that we've covered everything from the importance of building your personal brand to the strategies and tools you can use on LinkedIn, I'd love to open the floor to any questions you might have. Feel free to ask anything, whether it's about setting up your profile, crafting a strong headline, how to reach out to potential connections, or even how to use LinkedIn to find specific opportunities. No question is too small, and this is the perfect chance to clarify anything that's still on your mind. Maybe you're wondering about how to make your profile stand out when you're just getting started, or perhaps you're not sure how to keep your LinkedIn presence active and engaging, or you might be thinking, how do I make connections without feeling awkward? Whatever it is, now's the time to ask. And if you're looking for a bit more guidance on anything we discussed today, whether it's the step by step process for setting up your profile or tips on building a network, I'm happy to dive deeper into those areas. This session has been all about empowering you to take control of your personal brand and use LinkedIn as a tool for your future success. So if there's anything you'd like to explore further, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here to help and make sure you walk away from today with a clear plan of action. Take your time, think about your questions, and let's go over anything that might help you feel more confident moving forward.